Here's some food for thought. If you were a jazz musician today and you wanted to cross over to the public at large, get a wide audience of people who didn't necessarily listen to jazz come to your concerts, how would you do it? That's what we're going to look at with 500 Miles High by Chick Corea, because he did it in 1972. I'm Ron Drotos, and welcome to my journey through the real book, 118. If you were a young jazz musician today and you wanted to cross over to the larger public so that people who didn't listen to jazz normally would buy your records, become great fans, and come to all your concerts, how would you do it? That's what we're going to look at today, because Chick Corea, with 500 Miles High, did it in the early 70s. I'm Ron Drotos from KeyboardImprov.com. Thanks for being here for my journey through the real book, number 118. Every Friday, I'm putting out a video like this, working through the real book in order. 400 tunes. So I'm giving myself an 8-year project to inspire myself, and hopefully you too. So Chick Corea in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, he had been playing with Miles Davis, and at the time when Miles made the transition from swing eighth notes to straight eighth notes, so-called jazz rock, or became known as fusion. And it had started when Herbie was in the band, but really took hold with Chick. And so even though Miles was big and playing for some rock audiences, it wasn't a huge crossover like Chick Corea eventually became. So he was well known in jazz circles, somewhat maybe with the general public-ish kind of thing, but he definitely wasn't, young rock fans going to his concerts, Chick, yeah, Chick, like it is now. Wasn't there yet, but he became there because of the group Return to Forever, and in both their incarnations, and tunes like Spain, 500 Miles High, La Fiesta, and then later even more rock-oriented things. So how did he do this, and how would somebody do it today? That's the interesting thing. So Chick grew up of Italian-American descent in Boston, the North Boston area of Boston on the East Coast, and he also loved Latin music from an early age, and he was playing Latin music professionally as a teenager with trumpets and salsas and traditional Latin dance music. Big influence on him. But even if he loved it like that, why did he write so many tunes like this that are sambas and have that kind of feel? If he wanted to cross over to a larger audience, which he said he did at the time, why didn't he just write pop songs? A lot of great pop music from the 70s, Elton John, funk music, Sly and the Family Stone, James Taylor, folksy music. He could have brought jazz into that. You could play a song like Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack, jazzy. Could have done that. But he didn't. He did Latin music. First of all, it's because he loved it. But I think also Latin music was the bridge, the true bridge, between traditional Great American Songbook, Cole Porter, George Gershwin type songs with the harmonies and beautiful melodies, and rock music, because it has straight eighths. It's basically swing era chords, a lot of it, bossa novas and things, swing era chords. Like, for instance, Girl from Ipanema, the first 8 measures are the same chords as Take the A Train. You could play Girl from Ipanema swing. I don't know if it would sound good, but the chords work. It's the same as Take the A Train. Key of F. So there's a big connection there. So Chick Corea found that he could write Latin tunes with the samba feel that he loved the rhythms of, using really solid melodies and coming up with tuneful songs that would not have been out of place in the earlier eras of jazz, but in a way that also appealed to a broader audience because it had straight eighth notes and 500 miles high. By the way, I looked up how far 500 miles would be. The Earth's atmosphere at the outer reaches is about 300 miles, but then the moon is way, much farther. So it's just past the Earth's atmosphere. So it's like saying we're in outer space. That's what this is. You're floating up there. So how would you do it today? You know, if you solve that problem using today's rhythms or something that can appeal to people who like that. A lot of the, in my opinion, a lot of the jazz, hip hop type stuff just isn't melodic enough to last. It's a nice groove, but it's not, the tunes that I've heard at least aren't really solid like this or Spain. I think if someone really did it, they'd cross over at least somewhere. All right, so let's give it a try. The thing about Chick Corea's tunes is that the chords don't always go where you think they're going to go. So you just got to spend some time getting through these harmonic landscapes. By slow practice, just listening to the chords. Oh, that's interesting, first two chords. So I'm just going to start right with the melody, no intro, and see where it takes me. wonderful harmonies in this. I find that you know, adding that 11th, or you know, or finding a way to you know, change, like instead of going from the C down to the A flat near the end, just staying with C on the bass and almost making it like a C minor with a flat 6, you know, first inversion A flat, brings out something very evocative that really works well with Chick. When I was playing that, I was thinking about an interview I read with John Patitucci, who played, you know, bass with Chick in his trio and other groups for a long time. And he said sometimes he'd be, you know, playing the bass line, and Chick would be taking a piano solo, and it would just sound like so much fun, because Chick's just playing all this great stuff, and Patitucci's like, oh, I can't wait till I play my bass solo, it's going to be that much fun. And then he gets to the bass solo, and he's like, wait a minute, these chords are really hard. It just seemed like it was so easy when Chick was playing it. But luckily for us, this is probably one of the easier Chick Corea tunes to get into. So have fun with this, and you know, practice it slowly. Practice it as a ballad. Just work your way through improvising each chord, and then gradually start playing it with that samba rhythm. Thanks for being here, and good luck with your playing. And I always say, you know, enjoy the journey and let the music flow. Two most important things. Take care.